ESPN, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to get 58% of this thing. 58%. Joe, it's just, I know we mentioned this before, but now that it's coming to fruition here, it's just not looking good for the ACC. The Big 12 the Big 12 seems more confident than the ACC does.
Well, the Big 12, I think, is slotted to make a little
amount of money.
You're right. I think that there's
lesser teams.
There's a little bit more of a contingency of programs that have active alumni bases and more aggressive alumni bases than the ACC do. So I do feel a little bit better about the Big 12. My biggest thing with this, though, and I've been saying this for a long time, and you've kind of pushed on me, and I'm bringing this back to, we have to talk about Notre Dame when these conversations come up.
All right, I was going to wait to talk about Notre Dame, but we talked about this on Wednesday, so go ahead.
Yeah, I feel as though the massive gap in what the ACC would make and what the Big Ten would make is a pretty clear indicator that if Notre Dame does decide to join a conference, it would have to be the Big Ten. It wouldn't be worth
for sure.
It wouldn't be worth giving up all of their freedoms just for a little bit more money. It would be really silly for them to do that. So the way that I look at this, yes, Notre Dame absolutely in the next 5 to 10 years needs to make this decision and needs to join a conference, and they should only do it if they're joining the Big Ten. Regionally, it makes more sense. They've got more historic rivalries with Big Ten programs like Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue. There's a lot of teams that they used to play that were in the Big Ten that they used to have really big, important matchups with every single year. If they're joining a conference, it has to be the Big Ten, and they need to start making that move before they get boxed out.
We talked about this on Wednesday. I actually now agree with you because of the revenue share. Okay. But Notre Dame's got to make a move. Notre Dame is going to have to wind up making a move here into a conference. I know all of their fans are going to, I'm sure you're going to clip this, and I'm sure the Notre Dame fans are going to come up in here and say, what in the hell is Blake talking about? Joe, it's reported by Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports that if they make the playoffs, they're going to make 1% less or 1% or less going into a 14-team playoff. You're talking about, Joe, leaving anywhere from 10 to 15 to, I saw a max from Dellinger, $18 million a year if you do not join the conference. I got it. This is why I discussed this on Wednesday. By the biggest loser in all of this right now may be Notre Dame. You can't get a number 1 overall seed regardless of what you do in the regular season. Okay, you can't get an automatic bye. I understand because you don't have a conference. You're not winning a conference game. I understand all that. But the bottom line is, Joe, if there's going to be a upward tier, if they're going to lose $10 to $18 million a year, they don't have a choice. Joe, you're talking about almost half of your yearly TV revenue from NBC. With all of that being said, they're the biggest loser in all this if they don't join the conference. I think if there's ever been a time where it's been more inevitable for Notre Dame to join a conference, when Dellinger tweeted out on Friday, it's going to be 1% or less, I'm like, oh, shit. It doesn't matter anymore. They got to join now.
It's an enormous red flag. And look, Notre Dame fans, I have been one of those people for my entire life. And I know that I'm not super old. I'm in my early 20s. You're
in your mid-20s. Don't you say yes.
Sorry. I have fought tooth and nail with anybody that I've argued with. I've done it on Twitter. I did it when I was in high school. I did it when I was in college, saying that Notre Dame should not join a conference. And at the time, it made perfect sense. But I think that we've gotten to the point here, as you're talking about, it hasn't been more painted out and in front of our faces than it could be right now. We know exactly the handicap that we are being handed. So I need to stop saying that Notre Dame is being handed. Notre Dame is going to have
play?
No, shut up.
I don't mind the whole we thing, by the way.
I think if you have some sort of a tie to a university, I think it's
you know what
fine.
Your tie is?
What?
Your family's given well over $50,000, $100,000 to Notre Dame in their lifetimes.
I mean, I was literally baptized in the church there.
Okay.
So like I like to think that I can claim, we is not a totally inappropriate thing to say for Notre Dame.
Say we.
My point is that Notre Dame needs to look at this situation and they need to realize that they're getting the short end of everything. They cannot just sit back and wait. And I know that they don't need to be desperately picking up the phone and calling everybody and saying like, "Hey, do you guys want us? Do you guys want us?" They have the opportunity to be courted by any of these conferences, but they should make the move and talk to the Big Ten because they clearly have wanted them back when this expansion was occurring not too long ago. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts.